Hey, I'm Emily Vogeltans, and this is Daniele Flickinger and Shelley Giglio from Passion City Church in Atlanta, Georgia. We want to take a few minutes to talk about mentoring, specifically to a woman out there that wants to mentor, but maybe isn't a part of a church that's already stepped into that kind of program. And so let's talk about that, because mentoring is really a call on all of our lives. So I know we're passionate about that, Shelley. Share around the big heart and vision behind mentoring.
Most of mentoring and the concept of mentoring comes from Titus 2. And when you read the passage, it kind of describes older women and younger women, and it talks about the connection between the 2 and how we are to be these kind of women as older women, and I'll include myself in that pile of people, but then how we also raise women who look a certain way by what we attribute to their lives. And a lot of times we have a desire for that relationship. Some of us have that by parenting. We have great moms who have showed us the way to know God more. But a lot of us don't. We don't have someone in our life who really knows Jesus and who really wants to help us on the path and journey of knowing Jesus too. And I feel like mentoring can take that place in our life. It can really step up to the plate, and even more than a parent can sometimes, provide that kind of information, feedback, inspiration, encouragement, so that we can become all that God intends for us to be. So we take that process seriously, and we want to, most of all, we want to obey Scripture. We want to be the kind of women that God describes in older women, and we want to become and lead people toward the younger women that He also describes.
I just want to encourage everybody, because I personally, before we had a journey in our church, I started mentoring without it. So if today you have your book and you're wondering what to do, you just know that it came from a place that just required saying yes and recognizing the need that we have today. I don't think we've had a time where the generation is looking so much for direction and purpose, and everybody's hungry to have someone more experienced in their life to do life with and just to learn from their experience.
And that's the beauty of this resource that we've created. It is that anybody can pick it up, get a copy, and find some people in their life to either be a mentor and mentor some younger people or some less seasoned people behind them, or look for somebody ahead of them and say, I need a mentor in my life. And ideally, you would always do both. You would be a woman that has a mentor, and also you'd be pouring out to the people behind you. So talk about this resource, talk about Flourish, how we've set it up, and how anybody can step into this and be a part of the journey.
So in the very beginning, we had to decide what was going to be the soil for these relationships. We could have used books, but we decided to actually just use Scripture. So this book is basically a collection of Scripture with some daily devotionals where women will go through, pray, and spend some time with God daily, but actually process it in the presence of somebody ahead of them. It's a one-year journey. We divided it into 6 topics and made them very practical. So we're covering here topics like identity, prayer, relationships, calling, all things that we think about and need to know every day. But having the chance to go to Scripture to find the answer, and then having somebody as well walk through that with us, ahead of us.
It's the most beautiful book and has so much rich content in it. And I love that just anybody can start and pick it up. That's kind of the beauty of not doing it with a big church. You can just do it on your own. You can set your own timeline and find your own team of people to do that with.
Yeah, I think, Flourish has become a program now, but it didn't start as a program. It started as people who knew that mentoring was going to be an effective source of growing our lives. And so this was written with us in mind. And I think it's easy for us to approach it as individuals or as a group so that we can move forward in the process of knowing God, which is our primary focus in being here, and then to make Him known. And those are the 2 things that we want to make sure that we're supporting in our life so that we can be the kind of people that God says, I'm really pleased with you. And I think to do that, this just helps us move along that process and journey to do that.
I love that we have this resource, helping us walk through that. This website has a lot of information available, as you can see on our FAQs and everything. And for mentors, we have a specific version where you can find tips and guidelines for your meetings and just all the things that will help you carry this 1 year journey well.
So there's a mentor book
Right.
and a mentee book.
Yes.
And so you go through it together, but there's tons of information in there.
Right.
And so the biggest thing we want to encourage you is just say yes. Say yes to
Yes.
going on this journey. Say yes to leaning in and committing your life to this. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to look more like Jesus. And we do that when we're in his word and we're letting his word fuel our lives. And that's what Flourish is all about.